I don't know. Angel Reese, she might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating. What is this back injury? What's going on? Hey.
Angel Reese just walked out on the Chicago Sky once again. No warning, no sugarcoating, just straight up quit. Fans are furious, teammates are stunned, and the situation has turned into something messier than a reality TV reunion. The big question now is whether this marks the end of her WNBA career or the beginning of her biggest stunt yet. What's reportedly gone down behind the scenes is absolutely jaw-dropping, and the fan backlash is exploding.
Wants to know. The whole world is wondering, where in the world is Batman? I'm joking. I want to know, us Chicago Sky fans, women's basketball, WNBA, Angel Reese fans, where in the world?
Angel Reese quitting on the Chicago Sky is about as surprising as the sunrise. Everyone saw it coming. I called this weeks ago, but now the internet's acting like it's the scandal of the decade. Let's be real. This isn't shocking. It's classic Angel. She's always been fiercely committed to fame, but seemingly allergic to real hard work. Reese isn't out here to grind for wins or fight for loose balls. She's here to pose for the cameras, chase clout, and soak up the spotlight. The moment real effort or accountability enters the picture, she vanishes, faster than a missed free throw in crunch time.
I find it very symbolic, very almost funny, but not funny. Not funny, haha, but funny, sad. That out of all the bodily injuries that Angel Reese, a player, could experience, she's experiencing a back injury. Her back is literally hurting. And is it because that she is tired of carrying the weight of the Chicago Sky on her back, being that floor general and that floor leader? Did the Chicago Sky break Angel Reese's back?
This whole Rookie of the Year debate between CaitlinClark and Angel Reese, please. It was never close. It was only close in the same way I'm close to buying a $20 million mansion, purely hypothetical and existing only in the minds of those desperate for a juicy storyline. The media kept pushing it because drama sells, and Clark runs away with it. Doesn't make for clickable headlines. Let's be honest. Reese stayed in the conversation not because of her performance, but because she's a walking headline. She's loud, flashy, and always stirring the pot. Perfect for social media buzz. But when you actually look at the game tape and the stats, they weren't shouting dominance. They were quietly suggesting, maybe next year.
Everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering, what is really going on with Angel Reese? Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you have to have some level of self-awareness here. Last year with the Chicago Sky, you quit. You quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you never stood a chance, to be honest, with CaitlinClark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realized your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realized it was.
And you know who's really to blame for this whole circus? Everyone who kept hyping Angel Reese up like she was the second coming of basketball greatness for doing the bare minimum. Every commentator who treated a double-double in garbage time like it was a once-in-a-generation feat, every fan who confused a few flashy poses and side-eye moments for real leadership. You all fed the hype machine until it grew so massive it deserved its own jersey number. The media turned basic effort into a Hall of Fame moment, and now the Chicago Sky are living with the consequences, handing the keys to someone who never wanted to drive in the first place. So don't be surprised when this whole season ends up parked in a ditch.
Yeah, she did wear the villain role on her sleeve, no doubt about that. She didn't do a lot to help herself when she was winning the NCAA championship last year against Iowa, and she was taunting CaitlinClark. But did we forget that CaitlinClark had been doing the same thing to numerous opponents throughout that season last year? That it wasn't until she was humbled in that national championship game against LSU that she dialed it back a little bit? You can't want to be the villain. You can't pride yourself in being the villain, and then you lose, and all of a sudden you succumb to those emotions. That is true to some degree. But usually when you lose and you have an opportunity to sit back and reflect, there's a mountain of emotions that get heaped on your shoulders, and it's hard to hold it in. Not to mention when teammates are coming to your defense because they realize how the insults against you have been so
Chicago was never home for Angel Reese. It's just another stop on her never-ending Look at Me tour. Another Maryland 2.0. All flash, no roots. She's already peeking over the fence for her next LSU-style setup. A ready-made, already stacked roster where she can parachute in, let the Real grinders do the heavy lifting, and then strike a pose for the victory photos. That's been her playbook all along. Skip the foundation, avoid the blueprints, and slide straight into a move-in-ready championship house. She's not the architect, the builder, or the engine of success. She's the tenant who shows up once the hard work's done, rearranges the furniture, and then brags about how great her place looks.
Into something that isn't. She's got a back injury. Like, I'm not going to be out here saying that Angel Reese needs to go out and play through a damn back injury. I just don't think is the case, especially when your team is as bad as it is. Like, absolutely just stinking it up constantly. Like the ChicagoSky.
The ChicagoSky completely screwed themselves by drafting Angel Reese. They didn't just buy a ticket to the Angel Reese show. They bought front-row season tickets to every dramatic exit, every I'm not feeling it moment, and every disappearing act. And honestly, if Reese ever threw in the towel, it'd probably take 4 tries before it even landed near the court. Yeah, I laughed at that one too. The truth is, Reese plays basketball for herself, period. Not for her teammates, not for the fans, and definitely not for the franchise. She craves attention, endorsement deals, interviews, and Instagram likes. The second things get tough, poof, she's gone. CaitlinClark, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. You can see it in every possession. Clark doesn't need to be the loudest person in the room because she's the one hitting the shots that make the room erupt. Meanwhile, Reese is off in the corner checking the lighting for her post-game outfit shot. One of these rookies is building a career, the other is building a brand and hoping nobody notices the difference.
You threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
And let's talk about leadership. True leaders carry the weight of their team, take responsibility when things go wrong, and share the credit when they go right. Angel Reese, on the other hand, seems completely allergic to accountability. You'll never hear her say, "Yeah, that one's on me." Instead, it's all shrugs and side eyes, like everyone else is the problem. And really, when your entire plan is to ride coattails, you can't admit you're the one slowing the horse down. It's no wonder she's already looking for her next exit. Chicago needs a builder, not a passenger, but Reese has made being a passenger her brand. She wants the perks, the spotlight, and the celebration, just not the 6 a.m. workouts or the grind that makes champions. The wild part is she'll still get more attention for quitting than half the league gets for winning. That's the upside of being a brand-first athlete. The headlines never stop, even when you do. Because the thing about quitting twice is that it stops being a surprise and starts becoming your resume. Angel Reese has officially reached the point where no one's even shocked anymore. Quit once, maybe it's a story. Quit twice, and that's who you are. At this point, she's the WNBA's Houdini, pulling off disappearing acts without any of the mystery.
Listen, Angel Reese has thrown in the towel. She refuses to travel with the team. Once again, the team has a road game. We already saw she refused to travel with the team to Indiana versus the Fever. Now they head to Connecticut to take on the worst team in the league. Yes, they finally went against a team that is worse than them, the Connecticut Sun.
Here's the kicker. Despite all the drama, Angel Reese will still find a way to spin this as a self-care or empowerment moment because that's what sells on social media. Give it a week, and she'll be on a podcast talking about how she had to protect her peace, while people conveniently ignore that her peace was apparently threatened by doing her job. Meanwhile, CaitlinClark is out there grinding, taking hits, drawing double teams, and still delivering. Clark isn't looking for her next LSU. She's busy building her own dynasty from scratch. ChicagoSky fans deserve better than a player who treats the season like a side hustle. They deserve someone who shows up when the lights are bright and when the stands are half empty. Someone who puts in the work when no one's watching. Angel Reese isn't that player. She's the star of her own movie, and everyone else is just set decoration. If the Sky are smart, they'll learn from this. Stop drafting based on hype and start drafting based on heart, because hype fades fast, and heart is what wins championships.
Nobody knew what happened on the day. Nothing had happened. Then somebody got into Angel Reese's ear to say that this happened, and she then doubled and tripled down, saying that something happened even though she didn't hear it herself. And then she's there reposting tweets or reposting TikToks saying that Gamebridge is dangerous for her, and it's a danger if she goes to Gamebridge, and all it is crap. So Angel